Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In this week's episode, Edgewater cuts the ribbon on the state's first sun trail. UCF incubator clients showcase their deliverables, and the birds are back on the beach. Later on in the program, Joanne Magley talks airport holiday travel with Jay Cassins and Suri Koshetz. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. Trail enthusiasts recently celebrated the opening of the Dale Avenue Sun Trail in Edgewater, which is the completion of the first trail segment constructed with Sun Trail funds in the state of Florida.
We accomplished this because years ago with our ECHO funding, our citizens-supported initiative, the council earmarked $1 million annually to support trails. That put us ahead of the curve in the application at the state level for the Sun Trail grant. Edgewater, Volusia County, is #1.
The trail is a 12-foot wide paved multi-use path that extends the East Central Regional Rail Trail from the intersection of Park Avenue and Dale Avenue north to 10th Street near the main entrance of Daytona State College's New Smyrna Beach Edgewater campus. The trail is the result of collaboration between the City of Edgewater, the River to Sea Transportation Planning Organization, which is TPO, Volusia County, and the Florida Department of Transportation.
In our case, Volusia County was incredibly fortunate because we were funded not only for the Coast to Coast Trail, but we were also funded for the St. Johns River to Sea Loop Trail. So Volusia County, when we went to compete at the state level in Tallahassee against other jurisdictions that were also designated priority trail, we won, Volusia County won by 1 vote. That was significant because that 1 vote allowed millions of dollars of Sun Trail monies to be dedicated towards the development of trails here within Volusia County. It was a fantastic day and a great win for the county.
The Florida Shared Use Non-Motorized Sun Trail program was established during the 2015 legislative session, allocating $25 million per year for the development of the statewide trail system. The trail will provide recreational opportunities as well as additional transportation options for Edgewater residents and students attending Daytona State College and New Smyrna Beach Middle and High Schools. The project forms a portion of the St. Johns River to Sea Loop, a 260-mile-long regional trail system that spans a 5-county area. More information about the Sun Trail program can be found at floridasuntrail.com. Recently, the clients of Volusia County's business incubator, powered by UCF, pitched their products and services to area business and community members at the incubator's client showcase. The event was meant to introduce early-stage companies and Central Florida investors to the Volusia County community. Connie Bernal, Associate Director and Site Manager for the Volusia County Business Incubator, says by helping startup companies, we are helping the community to grow.
We don't create the companies, we don't create the jobs, we create the atmosphere for these companies to grow. And if they grow, they create jobs, and then people can go and work, and that's how economic happens when we have new jobs in the area.
Most entrepreneurs are masters at developing products, but lack the sales and marketing resources needed to win customers and generate revenue. That's why Volusia County began the partnership with UCF in 2010 with the opening of the Volusia County Business Incubator at Daytona Beach International Airport. The incubator provides mentoring and, in many cases, office space to companies in the startup phase of their business.
So we help entrepreneurs to start their companies and to be successful. But behind starting a company, being successful, there is a lot of things that have to take place. Like we need to train them in business strategies. We need to help them with connections. So one of the things we're doing today in this showcase is connecting them with key partners that will help them to grow.
A 2010 study by the National Business Incubation Association found the survival rate for incubated companies after 5 years is 87%, compared with 44% for companies that did not launch from incubators. Okay. For more information on the Volusia County Business Incubator, visit volusiatechhub.com.
Get ready to start your engines for the Daytona Beach Half Marathon. Experience the race that takes you to the Speedway Beach and back. Start at the World Center of Racing's flat asphalt track, through beautiful Daytona Beach, over the Halifax River, onto the hard-packed sands of the world's most famous beach, then back to Daytona International Speedway for a checkered flag finish. Register online at DaytonaBeachHalf.com.
Here in Volusia County, our drinking water comes from wells underground. Dr. Holly Smith shows us how the Florida Department of Health works to ensure the water is safe to drink, no matter the source.
People should be more involved in knowing where their water comes from.
If you live in Volusia County, the answer to that question is somewhat simple. Your drinking water comes from the ground, the Floridan aquifer to be exact. That much we all have in common. But exactly where in the aquifer the water comes from and how pure that water is coming straight from the ground, well, that depends on your water provider.
There's different layers. We have wells that are 100 feet down. We have wells that are 300 feet down. So those layers are actually very different when it comes to the quantity of minerals or sometimes chemicals that come up through the ground, through those wells.
The Department of Health in Volusia County is responsible for ensuring all public water systems are serving up clean, safe water. That includes large city-owned plants like this one, along with smaller water systems such as those in private communities, mobile home parks, RV parks, even some churches and a few gas stations. If the water is pulled from the ground and served to people, the Department of Health is monitoring. And with 143 public water systems in Volusia County, there's a lot of monitoring going on.
Of those, 49 are community water systems. Community water systems are required to sample for bacteria every month. So every month we get those results, and we have to analyze them and make sure we input it in our database. So it is quite time consuming. For example, bacteria has to be sampled every month on the large community water systems. And things like chemicals, lead and copper, have to be sampled sometimes every year, sometimes every 3 years, depending on the frequency or the size of the system.
It's a detailed process that's required by the Safe Water Drinking Act. The purpose of the act is to ensure it's safe to drink the water that comes from the wells or other sources. So what is it that's in the water that comes straight from the ground every day?
We don't know, and that's why we do what we do, because we have to make sure what's coming out of the ground, to make sure that there could be chemicals, there could be hazardous materials, there is minerals that are found, on the ground. And we have to monitor for those and make sure what needs to be treated in the water to get to the point of safe drinking water.
No matter where you live in Florida, your drinking water provider is required to give you a consumer confidence report every year. It tells you where your water is coming from and the results from samples taken throughout the year.
If you'd like more information on this program or other programs and services offered by the Florida Department of Health right here in Volusia County, log on to our website. The address is volusiahealth.com. That's volusiahealth.com. For the Florida Department of Health right here in Volusia County, I'm Dr. Holly Smith.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. I've always wanted to be.
If you have visited Volusia County beaches recently, you may have noticed thousands of visitors who are once again making our area their winter home. The visitors are of the feathered variety. More than 14 different species of gulls are making Volusia County beaches their winter home from November through March, making it the largest concentration of gulls on a beach of any place in North America. The seabirds spend the day at the county landfill, along the Halifax River and other inland waterways, and out on the ocean. Then around 3 p.m., they head for the beaches at Daytona Beach shores, and at night as it gets dark, they fly offshore and roost on the ocean waters just beyond the breakers.
In this particular spot in Daytona Beach shores, the birds just continue to come in from all over the area. Many of them from the landfill, others coming from offshore, behind the shrimp boats and such, others coming from the river, and they all converge on this strip of beach in Daytona Beach shores.
Do we know why they do that?
Well, that's a great question, and no, we really don't know the mind of the gulls, but one of the things is, unlike most of the coastline, both north and south, the area in Daytona Beach shores and Daytona Beach has a very broad, flat, sandy beach. The same reasons we can drive on it also makes it very easy to stand on it.
Large concentrations of all of the gulls can be found up and down the county's beaches, but the best viewing area is in Daytona Beach shores between 3 and 6 p.m. To learn more about migratory seabirds, consider visiting Volusia County's Marine Science Center, which is home to the Mary Keller Seabird Rehabilitation Sanctuary. For information, you can visit marinesciencecenter.com or you can call 386-304-5545.
Rabies is a preventable viral disease of mammals, typically transmitted through the bite of a rabid animal.
In Florida, it's most commonly found in raccoons and bats, which can pass the virus on to unvaccinated pets and people.
To prevent exposure to rabies, avoid direct contact with wildlife, don't feed wildlife, vaccinate your pets for rabies, and supervise pets and young children outdoors.
If you think you've been exposed, contact your healthcare provider immediately.
Learn more at floridahealth.gov.
The American tea business is valued around $1 billion a year and growing. It's estimated we import millions of pounds of tea annually into the United States and grow almost none domestically. Those statistics are changing thanks to local brothers Brian and Kyle White.
What you're looking at is more than just a bin of leaves. This may be the next cash crop for Florida.
And it's the leaves in this bin that are the secret sauce, so to speak, for the White Brothers business, Yaupon Brothers American Tea Company. The leaves are yaupon, a plant native to Florida.
Yaupon is an indigenous native Floridian plant in the holly family. It is the only caffeinated plant native to the North American continent. It is related to other caffeinated holly species like yerba mate, which is a $1 billion a year cash crop in South America. And it's also an antioxidant superfood.
Now, if Brian sounds like a yaupon expert, that probably has to do with his growing up in Volusia County and being a native plant enthusiast. It was in high school that Brian first discovered and experimented with yaupon, and the rest you can say is history, as over time he kept experimenting and creating different blends of herbal tea made from yaupon. Once Brian and Kyle realized they couldn't buy the herbal tea anywhere else, they decided to start their own company, imagining a new industry centered around yaupon.
I think yaupon has a lot of potential for the Florida agriculture industry because it's a native crop, doesn't need any type of artificial irrigation or pesticides or fertilizers. It doesn't damage the environment, and it's a healthy product for consumers, and it's a caffeinated, stimulating beverage, so I think it could really become a popular item.
According to White, before any Europeans made their way over the pond, before Rome and Jesus, and even before Babylon and ancient Egypt, yaupon was being consumed by Florida's indigenous people. In fact, archaeological records show that yaupon has been consumed in Florida for at least 10,000 years. It's also been found thousands of miles outside of its native range, suggesting that it was the subject of a sophisticated trade network. Without truly understanding why Yaupon quit being consumed hundreds of years ago, the discovery and experimentation of Yaupon by the White brothers enabled them to reintroduce it into commerce in 2012.
There was no commercial supply chain for Yaupon before we started producing it. There's no guidebook, there's nobody to ask. So we had to learn everything from the ground up. That's from growing and cultivation to harvesting to processing and to packaging and distribution. This piece of equipment is called a withering rack. When the fresh Yaupon comes in, it's spread out no more than 4 inches deep on this rack. It can hold about 20 pounds at a time. Over 3 to 5 days, the Yaupon dries out as air is circulated through the withering rack, and it kind of lets it cure nice and slow, gives it a sweet flavor and aroma instead of a harsher, bitter. The heat gives it kind of a harsher flavor.
By 2013, the brothers were the first processor, handler, and grower of Yaupon to adhere to the strictest standards in the land, the USDA organic certification. By 2014, their fields had grown to 50 acres and their tea was sold in 20 states, Canada, and the United Kingdom, and in more than 180 retail locations. Today, Yaupon Brothers maintains partnerships with Florida farmers to cultivate Yaupon, and they grow their own shade-grown Yaupon on a 12-acre farm in Volusia County.
Locally, our Yaupon is available at Love Whole Foods, it's available at Heath's Natural Foods, Island Roasters, Sweet Marley's, Trilogy Coffee, several other local retailers. It's also available on our website and on Amazon.
Check out the company's website at yauponbrothers.com or follow them on social media. For the Business Beat, I'm Shelley Safranek.
Let's join Community Information Director Joanne Magley in the studio with Jay Cassens and Suri Koshetz for their discussion about air travel during the holiday season.
Thanks, Amber. Well, more than 98 million Americans will be traveling for the holidays, and if you're one of them, we've got our travel experts in the studio today with important information and travel tips. So joining us today is Jay Cassens of Daytona Beach International Airport and Suri Koshetz with the Transportation Security Administration, better known as TSA. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
So Suri, I want to start with you. You know, airports across the country, the holidays are just a busy travel season, and I know you've mentioned that there's been an increase in passengers bringing things with them to the airport that are prohibited items, and obviously this just causes delays for everybody. So talk a little bit about some of the items that people either forget that they're bringing or just don't know that they can bring.
The most common item people forget is their pocket knife, because a lot of people do have those in their pocket, as they're called, and you need to leave those at home or place them in your check bag if you need to travel with it. Other items are brass knuckles, and for some reason martial arts tools often find their way into carry-on bags and they're not permitted. But the most disturbing and dangerous trend is people bringing guns to the checkpoints.
And what do you think is the reason why there's been an increase in passengers bringing these prohibited items?
Unfortunately, as we get further and further away from 9/11, people are not paying as much attention to what's in their carry-on bag as they should be. There are also a lot more carry permits that have been issued in recent years, but people really need to understand the rules and leave their guns at home.
So Jay, talk about some of the items that are common maybe at Daytona Beach International Airport.
Well, luckily, we don't have a lot of the gun incidents at the airport. A lot of people are paying attention here. We do have them from time to time, but you know, some of the items that we see are peanut butter and hairspray and cologne and you know, occasional some martial arts items, but it's usually food or beauty bathroom related type products that we see.
Because a lot of those products you're limited to it's the 311 rule, and I'd like you to get into that a little bit, because people forget that there's a limit to the amount of these liquids that you can bring on a plane.
So yes, it's called the 3-1-1 rule, and that means that any liquid, gel, or aerosol that you want to take in your carry-on bag must be 3.4 ounces or less. All of those small items need to be placed in a 1-quart size bag, and each passenger gets just one bag. That's how we arrived at the 3-1-1.
Right.
If you have larger items, they can go in your check bag, but if you're in the TSA pre-check program, you can put all those small items in your 3-in-1 bag. You can leave it in your suitcase, so it's a very convenient program for everyone.
And as Jay mentioned, peanut butter falls into that category of liquid or gel.
Peanut butter, mayonnaise, ranch.
Some people might not realize
You're
it.
trying to make a sandwich on the plane.
Well,
those items won't fly.
Yeah, you'll just have.
You can always put them in your checked items, though.
Yeah, that's something that people can remember. That if they know they have to bring something with them, put it in the check bag. But talk a little bit about Daytona Beach International Airport. You have a unique program for some items that aren't allowed to go on the planes, and people have to abandon them. You have an alternative so that they don't have to say goodbye forever.
Yeah, as Sari mentioned, we have the ability to email items back. The most common item that we see is the pocket knife. And we have a mailback program that passengers can fill out their information, their home address, and then TSA helps us out with that. They put it into the envelope, and then the airport pays for it to be mailed back to the customer. And you think, well, a pocket knife isn't a big deal, but sometimes these are heirlooms, things that have been passed down from generation. Yeah. So it happens several times a week, and we get lots of feedback from the passengers too that receive those items back, just how nice that is. I can tell you that a lot of larger airports don't have the time to mess with that and the resources. So we're one of the few airports in the country that will actually send stuff back to a customer.
What a great customer service initiative that you've done, and I'm sure that people are actually surprised when you tell them, well, fill this out and we'll mail it back to you, because usually you have to make that, at other airports, you make that decision. Like I had to make that decision. The peanut butter had to get thrown away because I didn't have time to check it in my bag. So, Sari, I know that TSA is always vigilant when it comes to security and such. What can people maybe expect to see that's different for the holiday busy travel season?
Well, one thing is you're going to see more canines at airports. We're really expediting a lot of lines at the huge airports using the canines. So when you're coming back to Daytona Beach, you may see that, and that helps us a lot. We have expert canines. Also, this holiday season, there's a new procedure. If you're not in the TSA PreCheck program, any electronic device that's larger than a cell phone needs to be taken out and put in a bin with nothing under it or over it. We know that terrorists are still interested in placing explosives in everyday items, and we want to make sure you get to your destination safely.
And all this information is on the TSA's website, and for those who haven't traveled in a while, it's a good idea for them to go to the website and look under the tab for the travel tips, to just brush up on what you can and what you can't bring on board, and any other travel information that you have there. The holidays themselves can be stressful for a lot of people, and then you add traveling, especially through busy airports, onto that. That just adds to the stress. So what advice do you have for passengers before they embark on their airline travel this holiday season?
Well, I also want to mention that we have Ask TSA on both Twitter and Facebook. We have a TSA blog that goes out. You can subscribe to that, and every week you'll get more travel tips right there in your mailbox. And also on TSA.gov, we have a line that says, "Can I bring?" And you can enter an item, and it'll tell you whether you can bring it or not. Okay. So 2 items that you can never bring, whether it's carry-on or check bag, are grenades and fireworks. Fireworks are explosives. The grenades, even though they might look like a replica, we have to make sure they don't have explosives in them, and that can cause an entire evacuation of a checkpoint or a bag check room.
And Jay, what other advice do you have for folks that are going to be traveling to Daytona Beach through Daytona Beach International Airport?
Well, since it's the holiday season, I would suggest that people arrive at least 30 minutes prior to your normal arrival time. So if you typically come to Daytona Beach an hour ahead of time, come an hour and a half ahead of time. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you're trying to check your luggage at the ticket counter, that all the airlines, regardless of the airport, large or small, will close the ticket counter 30 minutes prior to departure. and then they'll also close the boarding 15 minutes prior to departure. So give yourself plenty of time, because you never know just how busy it will be. Some of our busiest time is actually in the middle of the day, where other airports the busiest time is, you know, in the morning or later afternoon, depending on what airport and the airline schedules, but give yourself plenty of time.
And people can save time by coming to Daytona Beach International Airport because they're saving travel time that they would have spent at another airport.
A lot of time. So you're going to save time driving, you're going to save time in a security checkpoint. It's a big not only money saver, but also in time as well. So you can't beat the friendliness of the TSA that we have at the airport. They really take customer service to a whole nother level.
And we want to remind folks that are traveling in and out of Daytona Beach International Airport, whether you're going to pick somebody up or whether you're actually taking a flight or arriving to Daytona from a flight, that we have the selfie with an Elfie to make the holiday season just a little more cheerful, and we want people to take a selfie of themselves with the elves throughout the airport.
Yeah, we have a couple elves mixed throughout the airport in the baggage claim, by the checkpoint, by the gates.
Cardboard cutouts.
Cardboard cutouts, and you can post it on our Facebook, and you can win free parking for 2018 and a $100 gift card. So it's just a little fun that we have.
Yeah, it's great, and it brings a smile to everybody's faces. All right, well, Jay Cassens, Director of Business Development for Daytona Beach International Airport, and Sari Koshetz with the TSA, thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osman, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.